Good morning. Welcome to your unique devotion. It's time to get motivated. I've had too many days off here. Yeah, I've only had two. And I'm just this morning is just one of those mornings where it's hard to get motivated. So we're going to get motivated here with a little bit of scripture. It always helps the brain to get rolling when you start thinking in the morning. So today I'll be reading John chapter 9, verses 13 through 23. I'm actually doing the first part of a section called The Pharisees Excommunicate the Healed Man. Something just stood out to me about halfway through, and that's where I stop. Then I'll ponder that throughout the day, look for that question, and pose it to myself throughout the day, and just see what God reveals. And it works every single day for me, so I would imagine it would do the same for you. Hopefully it helps. But there may be a question in there that God's asking you. It's not the same as mine, and that's okay. The point is you're communicating with Him, you're thinking about Him throughout the day, you're making Him a stronger, more important thing in your life instead of just here and there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week is where it should be. So here we go. If you got your listening ears, I'm ready to rock. We got John chapter 9 starting in verse 13. They brought him who formerly was blind to the Pharisees. Now it was a Sabbath when Jesus made the clay and opened his eyes. Then the Pharisees also asked him again how he had received his sight. He said to them, He put clay on my eyes, and I washed, and I see. Therefore, some of the Pharisees said, This man is not from God, because he does not keep the Sabbath. Others said, How can a man who is a sinner do such signs? And there was a division among them. They said to the blind man again, What do you say about him because he opened your eyes? He said, He is a prophet. But the Jews did not believe concerning him that he had been blind and received his sight until they called his parents, the parents of him, and who had received his sight. And they asked him, Is this your son, who you say was born blind? How then does he now see? His parents answered them and said, We know that this is our son, and that he was born blind, but by what means he now sees, we do not know. Or who opened his eyes, we do not know. He is of age, ask him. He will speak for himself. His parents said these things because they feared the Jews, for the Jews had agreed already that if anyone confessed that he was Christ, he would be put out of the synagogue. Therefore his parents said, He is of age, ask him. So, sharing time. The question is this: do you base your truth on what others say, or do you go directly to the source? The Pharisees were, asking and trying to get information because they didn't believe the blind man, so they were trying to search out their own truth. They were going to search until they found the answer that they wanted, not necessarily the truth. They had another agenda. And we all do the same thing. Sometimes it's easier in a crowd of people to talk about someone else or an event as though we know what is actually happening, the entire truth, and we say, well, that must be it in our minds just because it makes sense, but it's not necessarily real. The dark side of gossip, which pretty much is all dark, I guess, the dark side of gossip really plays a strong part in this. You're sitting with your people, your fellow friends and coworkers, whatever, at work, and they're discussing someone else that isn't even in the room. And they say, well, I think this. Well, I think it's this. Well, I think they're thinking this way, or this is probably why they're doing what they're doing. Does that sound familiar? The truth is, the only way to get the truth is to go directly to that person and ask them, what are you thinking? Why are you doing it that way? And as long as you do it in a loving, inquisitive manner, you end up getting a truth that is closer, if you will, than just gossipy truth. People can still not tell you the truth. They may not wish to divulge some information because it's personal and only give you part of the truth, but it's at least much closer than just guesswork. So this is what the parents here in the scripture did. They said, I don't know. You go to the source and ask them. How much different would this world be if when someone was gossiping around us, we looked at them and said, you know what, I'm not really sure. Why don't you just go and ask them? Then you'll know for sure. 9 times out of 10, they're going to just stop talking because they don't really want to approach the person. They just like being heard, which is part of the ugliness of gossip, the dark side of gossip. So that question really comes from different angles for me and has different aspects to it for me. I'm not going to go into all of that because you don't need to know. It's for me to work out and change in my brain and in my heart. And as that changes, the outwardness will change and you won't have to know what's going on in my brain. But this is for you, unless you have another question. Do you base your truth on what others say, or do you go directly to the source? Just something to think about. So yesterday I got cut off. So today you get double blessings. Today I hope that you get double blessings from God that you deserve, and double the blessings from God that you probably don't deserve. So until tomorrow, have a wonderful day. Enjoy every moment.